What's up, y'all, and thanks for stopping by the Surge T channel. I am Surge T, AEW Dynamite for August 18, 2021. And I would like to first start off by saying thank you, Sean Ross Sapp, for the fact that he blew it for me in a tweet. I know I should have looked at the tweets, I should have looked at Twitter, but he tweeted that MJF beat Jericho. But that isn't going to deter me from watching because I still enjoy AEW, and AEW always delivers. But let's get to it, and let's talk about tonight's episode of AEW Dynamite. Eddie Kingston and John Moxley, they're going to be opening Dynamite. They're walking through the crowd to Wild Thing while everybody's singing and chanting that song. And 2.0 and Daniel Garcia attack them from behind in the crowd, taking them out. Then in the ring, they call out Sting and Darby Allin. I gotta tell you, the stones on these guys, and well, this is a way for them to make a name for themselves. Now, the first time in 20 years, it's pointed out that on TNT, that Sting is competing on TNT, and he's going to be competing for the first time on Dynamite, in the Texas Tornado tag match. And Sting does go through a table. This is like towards the end of this match, which was all over the place. A very physical. Sting was doing his thing and really, really just showing that this guy who is 62 years old, reverse those numbers, and that's pretty much where he is. What he is, 26. Because this guy doesn't seem to have any kind of, quit in him. And I don't even know if he'll probably go till he's 70. But he went through that table, he took that bump, and he just gets up. Does a typical Sting beating on his chest, and 2.0 are like beside himself, like, what in the fuck did we just, what did we just do? What did we just start? You know what I mean? What did we stir up? And I can tell you, when he went through that and got back up, the crowd went batshit, and so did I. And then we see Sting do a double Scorpion Death Drop. They get drop kicked by Darby. Darby kicks him right into the waiting grasp of Sting, and he delivers the Scorpion Death Drop. And then he puts on a Scorpion Death Lock to both of them, and he taps out 2.0. Not the first time that I've seen it. I've seen Natalya do it, on Raw, or was it Raw or SmackDown? But here Sting does it, and you know, has those guys tapping like there's no tomorrow. And Sting and Darby Allin win the match. Congratulations to Sting, because why not? Why not have him be the one to get that victory? 20 years in the making. The first time on TNT. Now, we got a little sweet moment that occurred earlier, that Sammy Guevara proposed to his girl Pam in the middle of the ring, and then Sean Spears makes a rather disgusting proposal to Sammy's fiance. Don't want to repeat it. You all saw it, and it's just going to add that fuel to the fire when it comes to their match. And that match is on next in Houston, Texas' hometown boy Sammy Guevara. He's headed to the ring. But Sean Spears does the smart thing, and he attacks him before the match even starts, and does so on the rampway. And then we see Spears and Tully give Sammy a stump pile driver on the outside. And this is all, like I said, all before the bell rings. Then Aubrey decides to give Tully the old heave ho when they try doing it after the match has already been, the bell's already rung. Now, Sammy, he's so good and athletic. For example, he jumps from the top rope, and then he bounces to the near side ropes. From the top rope to the other side, the top rope on the other side, and he attempts a back elbow drop. He misses, but what an amazing effort nonetheless. Now, we see a huge cutter off the top rope by Sammy on Spears. They both are standing at the corner, either one on the top rope, but they just look at each other. Sammy's like, okay, boom, and just hits him with the cutter. And And this was after excuse me. This was after Sean Spears pretty much was showing Sammy Guevara he's number one. And then in the end we see a Death Valley driver. Well, no, well not the end. What are you talking about? We see a Death Valley driver to Sammy off the top ropes for a near fall. And what a fun match. So far I'm watching seriously. And then we see a Death Valley driver onto the steel railing or barricade by Sammy on Spears, followed by a 630, and he gets a near fall. But then we see the GTH by Sammy on a bloodied Sean Spears, and finally gets the pin in this match, and he gets the victory. A little bit of a payback, and also he kind of was able to win one for his fiance. They share a kiss at the ringside, and Sammy Guevara pretty much had a great night. Proposes to his girlfriend, now his fiance, and then he gets the victory over one of his very, very much storied rival in Sean Spears. Now, Don Callis is a weasel. He talks about 25 years he has known Christian Cage. He claims or talks about giving him his first exposure, first match in Canada. Then Tony Schiavone then says that he not only did he give him his first match, but also fired him on the same day. So and he's schmoozing the new Impact champ. Like I don't know, was he trying to recruit him for the Elite or something like that? Because he was just practically kissing his ass. But but then at All Out, we know that Cage is looking to take the AEW title. And then he tells Callis that he still thinks of him as a carny piece of shit. So, what's on his mind, and can't wait to see that match. And even everything that they've lined up for All Out is really, really great. It's looking to be a great pay-per-view. And hopefully, like I said before, it makes up for the shit fest that was All Out last year. I really didn't like it, But let's move on. Dan Lambert of American Top Team. He was supposed to come back. Wasn't he supposed to come back last week or week before? He said he was, but then he never did. But here he is. What does he have to say? It doesn't matter. He talks about cancel culture, and of course, it's a problem to some. How people are so sensitive, and things are being said. They want people fired for this. They want this removed. They want this canceled and all that stuff. And he was talking about that. And he says that the cancel culture train has AEW on board, And then he talks about being, he's talking, and then he talks about the people who have accompanied to the ring. Two guys. One is Junior Dos Santos, and the other one is Andre Orlovsky. And MMA fighters and world champions in UFC and other places and everything like that. But he then proceeds to ask anyone in the back to jump if they feel froggy. And boy, he makes some rather unfounded claims and harsh accusations. And then the New Japan U.S. champ comes out, the Murder Hawk Monster, Lance Archer. He's headed to the ring, but then Scorpio Sky and Ethan Page attack him. Are they a part of, American Top Team? Or do you have an agenda and a mutual respect and also a mutual, hatred for the Murder Hawk Monster? Now, Jericho, he's backstage. He goes over all his trials that he had to go through to make it to the final labor of Jericho. And then he talks about having 5,000 friends of Jericho who will sing him to the ring. And that momentum will carry him through his match. And the match is going to happen, of course, in the main event. And I'll talk about that when I get to it. Now, the AEW Tag Team title match is up next. And the crowd sings along to Tarzan Boy. And Marco Stunt is getting his groove on. He's in there dancing and doing what he's doing. Guys, one of those guys who you either hate him or you love him. I'm kind of in the middle. Sometimes he gets on my nerves, but then sometimes he's funny. And, I don't mind him. He's a good, I guess he's a good compliment to Luchasaurus and to Jungle Boy. And, of course, I skipped the Bucks entrance. I can't stand them, and I hope they lose their title, and the Elite will continue to be humbled after their boy Omega lost his Impact Championship. Now, a fun fact: they brought up that these two teams met last year at All Out, and I do remember the match, but then I don't remember the pay per view because I didn't like it. But let's keep on moving. And this match was too many false finishes and close calls, and I'm sick of the Bucks retaining the belts every single time. I'm hoping for the best here, but BTE Trigger, of course, wins the match for them, and this, of course, was after the whole elite coming in and interfering on their behalf, and so it's because of the elite. Anderson and Don Gallows. You got Brandon Cutler. You got Michael Nakazawa. Is that his last name? I know. And even Don Callis and all these guys just need to always even Kenny Omega comes in, they interfere. Christian Cage was able to get him some of Kenny Omega. He even fought him to the back, and then see what happens. They get Christian Cage back into the ring. They beat on him. The One Winged Angel by Kenny Omega on to the Impact champ and his opponent at All Out for the AEW championship. Sometimes it's a normal thing. Of course, we expect that guys who have a faction behind them or a group, they help them win, of course. But it does get a little bit too old when you're constantly seeing them retain their titles. Why do you think that Kenny Omega didn't retain his Impact Championship? Because the main title for him, of course, is AEW. That's the secondary title that he has was the Impact Championship. So of course he's going to drop that. But is he going to drop the AEW title? We'll see. Hopefully, but it might not. Depends on who is the next opponent that they're grooming. If he's going to be a good fit for Christian Cage or is he a good fit for Kenny Omega? It depends. So, we'll see. Now, she's known as the problem solver. She's known as the fixer and the answer to all that is wrong in AEW. And Britt Baker, the Mrs. D, Britt Baker, the doctor herself, DMD, is referring to. Oh my God, what's her name? Jami Hader. Her name kind of went out of my head for a bit there. But she talks about her and Britt going way back, and she and then now Hader is going to be going next week up against against I said against I said against a lot, didn't I? She's going to be going up against Red Velvet, and Chris Statlander got to know what it felt like to be on the receiving end of that boot. And let's see what happens with Red Velvet. Is she going to meet that same fate? And I'm looking at Jami Hader, and she looks like she is no one to be messed with. I don't know if I've seen her before, but I may have. But she's changed a lot. She's been away, I believe they said, for 2 years. So let's see what happens with her, and let's see how she continues to develop, especially now that she has teamed up with the champ, Britt Baker, and also Reba, or not Reba, or what she call her? So what is her name now? What's her name? But let's move on. Big Money Matt Hardy says he's an equal opportunity ass kicker, and Orange Cassidy says we'll see about that. Going back and forth. Matt Hardy. It just seems like I don't know. He wasn't he in a feud with Christian Cage, and all of a sudden after their final match or that match that they had, then now he's moving on to Orange Cassidy. I don't know where he's headed, and I don't know what's happening with Matt Hardy. He's still somebody who we all want to see in the ring, and we all want to root for, even though he's a heel right now. But I'm just questioning where his direction's going. I mean, he's got these guys who is pretty much like a mutt of a group that he's formed in the Hardy family office, and I just don't know what's going on, what happened to him. started off pretty strong, and then he's just now dissolving and devolving into something else. And you know, I hope that he comes back around and he's able to find himself again. Because I really don't have anything to say or any kind of I don't really, I'm not even behind these guys. I really just don't understand what HFO is and what it's about, because it just really doesn't do anything for me. But anyway, let's move on. As Paul White, we see him heading to the ring, and he talks about how it feels good to be in the ring again. He's in there with his old friend, Tony Schiavone. Of course, last week he went to the aid, or came to the aid of his son Chris. And then he's talking about a huge announcement, and then QT interrupts and says that Houston has a problem, and the huge problem is, and he points to Paul White. All I'm thinking is, don't anger the big nasty giant, because when he's angry, he could be nasty, and he wouldn't want to deal with that. But then QT, kind of thinking that he can have the advantage over him psychologically, I guess, he shows the x-rays of White's surgeries on his hip that occurred over an 18-month period. But that won't slow the man down. Paul White's like, do you think that showing what's happened to me and surgeries on my hip and that, and my nice ass, he says something like that, where it's, this typical funny and humorous side of Paul White, his sexy ass, right? Something like that, And he reveals, and I guess this was the huge announcement before he got interrupted. He says that he has a match at All Out, and the match is against QT Marshall. QT Marshall was smiling before, and then when he shows him, he's all surprised. And I'm just thinking, with that dumb look in his eyes, big old eyes, like this, and I'm going, what did you think he was going to say? Like, sometimes I'm telling you, these guys, dude, it's like, they try to act surprised, like, and sometimes it doesn't work. It's like they still need to work on their acting. You know what I mean? Like, it's just weird. And also timing it and doing it at the right time. It's like they'll do it and you're going, oh wait, you should know that that's going to happen. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to figure out that that's going to happen. Like, you're going to be his opponent. Who's he going to say? Aaron Solo? Or the other big dude, the hairy big dude, I forget his name. But, But that's gonna be a fun match, because I just want to see Paul White beat the crap out of QT Marshall, because nobody likes QT Marshall. QT Marshall is such a pain in the butt. You know what I mean? But let's move on. And at Rampage, it's going to be Jade Cargill. It's happening this Friday, and she just accepted the challenge of Kiera Hogan. Kiera Hogan, who is known all over the world, all over the country. I believe she was in Impact, and she was in other places as well, maybe in ROH, but she's a name that's been known all over. I've heard her name over and over again. I'm thinking, who is this girl, And I've never watched any of her matches, but I've seen her, and I've seen what she looks like, and I'm going, okay. They showed a little bit of what she's been doing on Dark and all that, taking on, like, women like Hikaru Shida and others, and looking good. And I want to see that match. I can't wait. And Jade Cargill, it's been a long time coming. She was off doing her thing, and then she returned to Dark Elevation sometime back, and then now she's going to be on Rampage. Now, it's announced with the overacting elite in the back. I fast forwarded through their segment, but then I caught this part at the end where the Varsity Blondes, Private Party, the Lucha Brothers, and Jungle Boy, and Luchasaurus, the Jurassic Express, and there will be an eliminator tag team tournament match at Rampage. And then the winners get the Bucks in a steel cage in Chicago at All Out. And this is what I'm talking about, where they use each other, right? The elite, they always have their other guys there to help them win. And then they get all excited, and not in a good way. They're like, oh, what? Like, we got to defend against them and stuff. And I'm just thinking, why are you acting like you're surprised? And why are you acting like you're scared or shocked or whatever? You've been using your other elite members. How about you know in your back of your head, like, oh yeah, we could use them to help us win the titles. To keep the titles in our under around our waist. You know what I mean? That's something that annoys me with them. There's that one time when Kenny Omega announced the 5-on-5 elimination match, right? He's the one that what do you call it? He's the one that made the match, and then when Hangman says we accept, they're like running all over the place, all over the ring, going, oh, what? Oh, like this, like as if they're. It's like it wasn't like it was dropped in their lap and they didn't know about it. They're the one. He's the one that brought it up, and then they act like they're surprised that they accepted it. They wanted them to accept it. That's what I'm talking about. That's why I can't stand the elite. I can't stand them because they all suck when it comes to their promos, when it comes to their acting. I guess the Bucks in them still are trying to channel other wrestlers when they're in the ring and when their antics and all that stuff. Don't they have their own identity? Anyway, I could do that all day. Talk about those dumbasses. But let's move on. Taz and the Spawn, the Spaz Hook. Taz and the Spaz. He calls it Notorious. Is that his name? Notorious Hook. And he introduces Ricky Starks, who's in possession of the obsolete FTW title, which has much value as a replica belt. And then we see Hobbs in the back on the Titan, on their Tron. I don't call it Titantron, but on their thing, it shows him attacking Cage. But then Cage gets back up, and then he's taking Hobbs through an ass beating as well. They don't know where they are, and so Team Taz is going to go and look for them, I guess. Now, at All Out, in Chi-Town, Pac will go up against El Idolo Andrade one-on-one, and Pac says that he's been dominant. That's where he's been dominant. He even defeated Kenny Omega, if you remember that match. But then El Idolo, along with Chavo, presents a contract or something with conditions on it, and if Pac wants Andrade in a match, he has to accept those conditions. I wonder what they are. Now, Penelope Ford takes on the competitor JR, described as 3 fingers worth of tequila in a clear glass. And that's Thunder Rosa. Don't know what that means, JR, but you're in your own head, in your own world, so I guess it makes sense for you. Now, she's on a 19-match win streak. And if I remember correctly, the Lights Out match didn't count, right? It wasn't. It was just a Lights Out unsanctioned match, so it would have been 20, a 20 match win streak. But 19 match win streak ain't nothing to sneeze at. That's pretty damn impressive and awesome. Now, as the match goes on, we see a Muda lock by Penelope, but it's reversed. But then by Thunder Rosa, but then Ford reverses it into a pinning situation, but Rosa slaps on the single leg crab, and great counter wrestling. Now we see an airplane spin into a Death Valley driver by Thunder Rosa, and still only a near fall. But Penelope gets a Muda lock on Rosa again. She goes for it again, but is reversed into a leg capture by Thunder Rosa, and Penelope Ford has no choice but to tap out. Good match, very, very physical. I love these two ladies, and I tell you, Penelope Ford, she's not just another pretty face. This girl can wrestle. Thunder Rosa, beautiful as well, sexy as hell. I love her. I think she's amazing. And she was able to just be that much better in this match as she was able to beat Penelope Ford. Now, Brock Anderson, the son of Arn Anderson, they're backstage talking to, I don't know if they're backstage or in the ring, but they were talking with, in an interview, and Brock, Arn's talking about how, Malachi Black made his debut, and pretty much, he took off his head, took off Cody's head, and pretty much, turned the world upside down, and it, you know what I mean? And you really took everybody, and pretty much did a spinning kick on everybody's heads, because he pretty much, showed what he's about, and then we find out that Brock Anderson, his son, is going to be taking on Malachi Black, and he's trying to tell his son not to. He's dangerous, but then his son tells him, "Hey, I'm not going to air our dirty laundry, but I'm not asking you. I'm telling you that this match is on." So he's pretty much not listening to his dad. He's pretty much saying, I got to do this, and why not? Because he's kind of almost like he wants to, bring back the honor to his family. But don't know if that's going to happen, because if a world-class athlete and a seasoned wrestler, veteran wrestler like Cody couldn't do that to Malachi Black, and he got taken out less than 5 minutes, then what's an up-and-comer like Brock Anderson going to do? Now, the TNT champ, he's talking in a vignette, and he wants to have a talk with Eddie Kingston. And I know that we all know the TNT champ doesn't like to talk. He likes to kick ass, and I guess that's what he means. He wants a match against Eddie Kingston. He put his title on the line. Now, Mox wonders what it takes. What makes people think it's easy? Omega needs an army to keep his title. Hangman is no cowboy. He can drink him under the table, and Christian should have stayed retired. And he even talks about how he could run through him. So he's talking about also like that stuff too. He's talking about how Daniel Garcia, he's going to be wrestling him, and then he says, "You want to prove that you have what it takes to stay on top or to be here in AEW?" Then he's pretty much telling him, "You prove it to me." Now, the fifth labor of Jericho. The crowd sings Jericho to the ring. So much for no entrance theme. The crowd will take care of that. And the crowd knows the theme by heart, really. That's so awesome. I love when they sang it, and they just sang it the way they would normally sing it with the song. It's just programmed into their heads, and then I guess you could say into their hearts, and they really sang them out and sang them to the ring. Now, Jericho doesn't show his age. I mean, he did a Hurricane Rana, he did off the top turnbuckle, lion salt, over the top rope, off the top turnbuckle Hurricane Rana, and then he lion salts, over the top planches. I mean, he's so amazing. And when the day comes that he hangs up, he hangs them up, it'll be a sad day in wrestling. It will be. I was just doing that through my head as I was watching him wrestle. But and then just as I thought that he would do. Well, he first presents Floyd. He pulls him out from under the ring, and then he gives MJF a gut shot as Aubrey is busy because she saw he put the $50,000 diamond ring on his hand as well, and his fingers as well. She saw it, took the ring, goes to the corner, and Jericho's able to hit that shot, the gut shot, and then he goes for the Judas effect, but nope, he can't do that. He caught himself, said, "Oh, I can't do that," but then MJF does and slaps on his submission, the Salt of the Earth, or the Fujiwara armbar. Now, MJF counters a pinning reversal because Jericho tried to flip him over to pin him, but then MJF secures the armbar and then taps out Jericho. And then MJF, he goes 3 for 3. That's what he mutters as he walks up the rampway. What a amazing show, Dynamite. I loved it. I thought that all the matches were very, very good. Some decent, some were good, some were great, and some were a lot of fun. And never cease to amaze me. They never bore me. Sometimes you go, "What was that?" Sometimes you're like, "What?" But overall, it's really, really a great program. AEW does do the right thing. Sometimes the slow stumbles here, some stumbles there, but when it comes to keeping me interested and invested, AEW does that. Dynamite does that. Rampage, did that last week. I enjoyed that as well. So I'm looking forward to Rampage this Friday, and they did announce some of the matches, and it's going to be another great edition of Rampage. I'm pretty sure. But anyway, that's my video for AEW Dynamite for the 18th of August 2021, and well, that's that. So for those of you who stopped by and checked it out, I appreciate it. Checked out my video, I should say. And in closing, as always, take care.